Hey, this is your best friend Paul from the Varmints Podcast, and you're listening to Is This Adulting?
Hey everybody, and welcome to Is This Adulting, a weekly conversation between two best friends navigating adulthood as overgrown man-children. You know me. I don't have to introduce myself at this point. Yes, I do. I'm best friend number one. I'm Stephen Pappas.
My name is Chris. I don't know what in the world that was.
That's the thing that's going to run off any first-time listeners. That's what that was.
Oh, God, that was weird. I was like, I'm going to do a cool rad intro, and then that's what I came up with.
That might have been really cool in the 90s. Do you want to introduce yourself for real?
Yeah, hey everyone, I'm best friend number two, Chris Grimmett, and when I'm not doing that, I'm also apparently starring in 1990s commercials trying to convince kids to not smoke.
Yep, you're going to be next in line for the next Paula Abdul video.
Oh,
okay.
Gosh.
So here's the thing. Usually this is the part of the show at the very beginning where I'm like, hey, how's your week been? What's been going on, And here's the thing. I don't care because we have to talk.
Okay.
We have to talk about something very serious, and that is we have to get directly into Brody Watch 914.
Oh, what happened?
Okay. So for those of you who may be joining us for the first time, because we have not had a Brody Watch in quite a while, Brody is a cool, chill ghost that you can hang out with that we kind of spoke into being on the first episode of the podcast.
Yeah.
And he haunted me for a few weeks because I ghosted on a girl in a relationship in high school. He haunted me. There was Dave Matthews music everywhere, Axe body spray, the standard bro ghost stuff.
Yeah, pretty much it's a ghost that, in a world where usually we think of ghosts as just trying to haunt you, he wants to hang out with you. That's pretty much
right
what
at Fire Festival.
Brody is. Yeah, those type of stuff.
No, exactly. So Brody has not been bothering me, but I do think he has called on his friends, and that is the other ghosts, because boy howdy, did something weird happen to me. So yeah, have fun sleeping tonight. So for those of you who don't know, which is probably everyone, my wife, Katie, is a high school teacher, and she is transitioning from biomedical science to theater, to teach theater this year. And so she's been transferring things across her school into her office, which is great, but it's a lot of work. And so I went for 2 of the teacher work days to help her do stuff. And so her office is backstage on the stage in the auditorium. And I was in there alphabetizing literally thousands of plays, which to most people sounds god-awful, but to me was really relaxing and like really chill and helped me find order.
Okay.
And I just know you're waiting, and it's so exciting.
I'm like scared.
She had to go to graduation because they were graduating at like 9 a.m. on a Monday or something, or 11 a.m., and I had already been there helping.
Wait, what?
Yeah, they graduate all week because all the schools graduate at the same Coliseum here.
Oh, okay. All right, keep going.
Yeah,
whatever.
So they
That's
graduate
weird,
all through
whatever.
the week.
Okay.
Anyway, but school had already been out, so they were graduating on a Monday. I was there on that work day helping, so she went to go to graduation because she has to. And so I'm just there alphabetizing plays. I got my podcast earbuds in. I'm really chilling. Really chilling. Really chilling. It doesn't help that there's like space between the roof and the ceiling where hot air gets in during the summer, and it sounds like people walking around.
Okay.
So that didn't really help the situation. So I just popped a podcast in. Nothing creepy. I don't remember what I was listening to, but this would be a great time to plug a show, but I honestly don't remember. It's all been wiped from memory because I was enjoying my alphabetizing of plays, and the way it's set up, the door is to my right. Okay? So I turn to the left to pick up a stack of plays off the table, and when I turn back, there's someone standing there. And I throw the stack of plays down and jump back literally like 4 or 5 feet and fall into the table of plays because there is a girl standing there with long brown hair in a dress for like 2 seconds. I mean, real fast, and then gone. And I thought I was going to die. Like, I believe in that sort of stuff. And that's the first time I've ever been like, oh my God, I can't explain what just happened to me. Like, there's nobody else in this school but me and, like, the male janitor who is down the hall. And so I don't know how to explain what the heck happened, but there was a girl, probably in her 20s, standing there next to me in the theater, and it scared the living bejesus out of me. So Brody has called on his army of ghosts, and I think they're coming for me.
I don't like this story at all. It makes me very, very just sad and scared inside. We need
I just needed to share that with you.
We need to okay, we need to do some rebranding of this ghost right now, because otherwise I'm going to have nightmares of this. So this is how I'm spinning this. This was not planned, but I also didn't know that this horrible situation happened to you.
This was Patricia.
Patricia? No, Patricia. Patricia is not like an accountant who's like 65 years old. No, we need to do a better name than that. Okay. So she's what? She's in her 20s? Is that what you said?
Maybe. It literally was like a fraction of a few seconds and then gone. Like, so I don't know. And I may have been really tired, and it could have been a hallucination. That's what I keep telling myself.
We've got it. We're going to give her a name. Her name's Chloe. She is in her 20s, so she's out of high school. So she's working at in a Chipotle or something. I got to think of something that's good and positive. She's the one that gives you extra guacamole, even though you didn't ask for it, because that's just the type of girl she is. And maybe, I don't know, maybe she just knew you needed some extra guac, and that was what she came here for. And that's what I'm going to tell myself tonight, because otherwise I'm going to imagine horrible things. And you know that you are cruel by you telling me this story.
Part of me knew it was cruel. The other part of me was like, it's too good not to tell, because I'm not making it up.
I would have.
I told Katie, and she laughed at me and said I was stupid and just seeing things and imagining it. But
Katie, if you're listening, which I'm like 99% sure that you're not.
She's not.
But Katie, you better be careful. Don't you make fun of him, because guess who's coming? Chloe's coming. And she's not going to bring a burrito bowl next time. That's just my warning. Okay.
I was gonna say, what's she gonna bring? You had.
I guess that's true. That's true. I'm trying to think.
Is she gonna bring a burrito bowl, but from like Moe's?
Okay, sure. Yeah, that's cool with me. All the things are like, the ingredients are like from like 6 days ago, so they've been in the fridge. So they're technically good, but they're not really good. So if you keep making fun of Chloe, she's coming for you. Oh my gosh! Wait, let's talk about something else.
Anyway,
I know you want
I just wanted to tell you that before we get into the mental health check-in, just quick housekeeping, just like every week. I want to say thank. I just want one thank, a single thank.
We're a little bit frugal here on this podcast. We don't have tons of money to be giving out thanks left and right.
Yeah, I know. You can have a single thank. So thank to Paul from the Varmints podcast for the drop at the beginning of the episode. If you would like to do that, we're running low. So if you would like to do that, now's the time. Just say, hey, this is your best friend and your name from wherever you live, and you're listening to Is This Adulting? And I posted in the best friends group. Get creative with it. If you're a musician, add that in there. Like, if you have a podcast, plug your podcast. Like, I got nothing. I got nothing creative.
I'll give you an example. So let's say you want to start like this. Boom, boom, ching, boom.
No. We're just going to keep on rolling. Also, at the end of the show, make sure to stay tuned for a brief word from the Varmints podcast with Paul as well. And we want to say a quick thanks to Rachel, which I'm way late on this one, and I'm sorry, because our recording schedule, this is the first episode we've recorded since Rachel also sent us 2 boxes of Waffle Crisp in the mail.
Thanks, Rachel.
I'm saving you boxes. Don't worry. They're sitting in a drawer in my living room, like in our thing, just waiting for me to pick them up on the way to Winston next time.
Nice.
That was exciting. And thanks to Julie so much for the care package full of goodies. that her kids picked out because they knew I was having a bad week, and they drew me a hand-drawn note, and they drew Star Wars and Zelda characters on it, and it was adorable. And that was from her son, and then her daughter drew me different types of trees, and it was really cute, and it made me both cry and smile. So just want to say thanks for that. With all the thanks, I gave multiple thanks.
That is true.
I'll go back and give Paul thanks. You get thanks too, Paul, not just one thank.
We're
wow,
from the South, and so when you say thank, it's so common of like a way of people saying the word think that I just can't. We're going to give you one thank, Paul. Just one for now, though. It's just what I'm. It doesn't feel that weird for me to hear that, surprisingly.
I feel like for anybody who's listening for the first time, they're like, thought this was about mental health and growing up, and it is.
We're
going to start off. We're getting there. I was about to get there. We are going to start off the same way we do every week this week with a mental health check-in. So, Chris, how you been doing?
I debated doing another little musical intro, but I decided I wouldn't this time.
I appreciate you not doing that.
Yeah, that's my gift to you. Okay, so the last couple weeks I've been doing, I definitely have been doing better. I have recently, though, had a little bit of some interesting just things kind of come to light for me. I kind of didn't have like a major regression necessarily, but in the midst of this new job, what's been cool is it's reduced a lot of areas of stress in my life that I've been dealing with. And so that's been removed, which is really nice. But there have been moments where I've experienced triggers because there are still areas in my life that there are some serious bits of pain and trauma that I'm trying to work through. And it's almost, I don't know if you felt like this, Stephen, but sometimes in the midst of when you're dealing with some, whether it's severe or whether it's minor stress and anxiety and depression or whatever it might be, you can almost fool yourself when you're having a good couple days or a couple hours or even a couple weeks where it's almost like eye of the storm type of thing. And then you get hit with another dose of it, whether how big or small. And it kind of throws you for a loop a little bit because you enjoy finally starting to feel better. And you almost take that for granted. And then you get hit again. You're like, oh crap, dang it. I forgot. I'm struggling with this. There's a reason.
Yeah.
And so I definitely had some regression with that. And I'm still kind of processing that through. And if people can keep me in their thoughts for this will come out on Thursday and this upcoming weekend, so a couple days after this comes out, I'm going to be somewhere that is going to be a mix of emotions, that there's going to be some good stuff, and hopefully I'm going to be able to see some people that it's going to provide some healing for me, but at the same time I'm also going to be around some situations and some conversations that is undoubtedly it's going to be bad. It's just going to, even talking about it now, I can feel my chest starting to get really tight. So it's something where I was trying to debate if I was going to go here or not, but I feel like for a healthy part of me facing my fear, facing what's going on, and trying to really provide some healing instead of just pushing it down and it coming out later, which we've talked about before. That's something I'm going to be doing. So this weekend might be a little bit rough. So if you want to think about me, I would appreciate it. And yeah, so overall it has been good, but there's definitely some nerves knowing what's coming ahead. How about you, man?
That's the question, isn't it?
I know this answer to some degree. So
yeah, I think anybody who's in our Facebook group knows this answer. To some degree at this point, and some podcast friends. No jokes this time about negativity corner and all that stuff. I'm in a bad spot. I'm in a bad spot. Yesterday, when we're recording this, yesterday was Father's Day, which was the first Father's Day, obviously, since my father passed in December. I felt nothing for most of the day, which I wasn't sure if that was a good thing or a bad thing. I was supposed to try to allow myself to grieve. I did not. I tried to do what my therapist told me and go out and do something that would honor him. So I went and got lunch with a friend of mine, the type of foods that he would like, and we went to a driving range and hit balls, and that was good. But of course, with a panic disorder that mostly revolves around my heart and my health, I was sore in the chest from hitting golf balls. And so that launched me last night into a massive panic attack where I had to pop 3 of my pills at Walmart while we were trying to just literally pick a few things up. It was just not a good thing. And I think I carried over some of those feelings that I pushed down. I think I carried those over into today, and today has been bad. Financial stress is really starting to close in on me here, with no job, and, to our patrons, thank you so much for what you do, but it's still not a livable wage at this point, just from the podcast. And so I have a couple job interviews coming up, but I've been stressed about those, and I think all of it just kind of came to a head today, to the point that I told my wife, like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. Like, and this is all in the interest of honesty. Like, I had a moment where I texted you and I was like, I don't know about the podcast because I feel like I am not doing the podcast justice. I feel like I am letting you down. I am holding the show back from being all that it could be, because I'm negative and I've got all this stuff that I'm working through, and I don't have the ha-has, that I do have sometimes. And so it's just been a really tough day. And so the people in the Facebook group have been extremely supportive, and I thank you. And I'm not going anywhere. I'm sticking through it. I've been talked off of that ledge a little bit. Not to use a crass way of saying that. That's not at all what I meant. I have been talked down a little bit, and kind of calmed down by a few good friends and fellow podcast hosts who have told me, this is normal, especially with everything you're going through. It's just something you're going to have to deal with. And I'm sorry I got a little emotional there. But I've been feeling feelings and not allowing myself to feel those feelings and see them as valid, and it has caused them to all bubble up to the point where I'm just going to explode. So long story short, it's not been good. This week I don't have a positive upswing of like, but you know what? This is coming, and this is, the thing that got me through the day was knowing that I was going to get to come and record. And do this and hang out with you and record for the listeners and hang out with them. So that's all I got, man.
And that's okay. And just so if I need to reassure any of the listeners, I can promise you he's not going anywhere, because pretty much 90% of the definition of our friendship has been me forcefully dragging and like forcing you to hang out with me. So so you don't have to worry about that. I didn't even have to, like calm him down earlier today, because I was like, it doesn't matter. I'm a leech. You can't get rid of me. So yeah. So you don't have to worry about that.
I just had a moment. I had to go through it, and I'm coming around. It's like I told the group, and I'll say it to the listeners too, who aren't part of the best friends group on Facebook. I am hoping that soon I can stop being just the supported and start being a supporter. But today is not that day, and hopefully tomorrow will be that day, or next week sometime. But today was not that day. So you got a real honest mental health check-in this week. Well, they're always honest, but this one just wasn't one I felt comfortable joking around about. Yeah. So, as always, though, if you have a mental health check-in you'd like to share, or an idea of how we can encourage you throughout the week, you can email us over at isthisadultingpod@gmail.com, or please check out the Facebook group. It's the Is This Adulting Best Friends on Facebook. Check it out. It is awesome. The folks in there are great, and it's great to have that support system. So moving right into topics. To just like bring us out of this, Chris. Like, we're in a nosedive of sadness. Like, pull
I'll
up
pull
on
us
the
around.
controls.
I'm gonna pull us around majorly. Here's a topic I
well,
want to talk
you're gonna
about.
pull most of the people around, not me. I'm gonna I'm not sure how I feel about it.
So it's summertime. Am I right?
Yes. Well, yes. I had to think about it.
Didn't realize I was asking a deep philosophical question, but when is it really ever
deep.
summer? Aren't we all in winter in our minds and in our souls? So it's summertime, and there are some things that I think about when it's summertime, and one of those is just sitting by the pool and relaxing, and I'm trying to think. Who is it? Will Smith sings the summertime song. And I've just been thinking about that, and it started making me think about something I used to do all the time right around then, or this time of year, and that is going to water parks. And I know that you've got some strong opinions on them, and I have some mixed opinions. And so I want to talk about water parks. I want to talk about some of the different stuff about them, the good, the bad, the just kind of the crazy stuff, like that we deal with in society based around water parks, because the more you think about it, it's kind of a weird tradition in itself. So I just want to kind of hear, what do you have to say about water parks?
Well, I have made it no secret on this show, not the biggest fan of water, which is a big part of water parks.
To be fair, we do like to be scientifically accurate on the show, and water does in fact have a pretty large role in water parks.
Yes. So when I think of water park, one word comes to mind, and it involves pools, but it's cesspool.
God.
Because everything about a water park is disgusting. Like, okay, you're in these massive pools with all of these strangers, and kids are just like letting loose in all these pools.
Pew,
wave
just
pools,
shooting pee rockets everywhere.
Slides.
Pew, pew, pew.
Exactly. And not just that. It's grody. It's gross. There's so many people just in one area. Then you get out and you walk around, and your feet get all like cut up because they're damp and it's hot. And the only time you feel comfortable is when you're in the water, but you got to get out and go eat for like $27 for a slice of pizza.
Mm-hmm.
And the pizza's somehow soggy as if it was in the pool. And like, it's not good. Then you've got slides. Like, I had a bad experience on the Twin Twisters at Emerald Point in Greensboro, North Carolina, where I'm in the tube and I somehow flipped over onto my stomach, and I just like was inhaling the water as I went down. And then you come out in that tray of water, and everybody's suits start coming off, and your ass is showing to everybody. And like, I have no desire. One, I don't swim. Two, kind of germophobic in a lot of ways, especially when it comes to that sort of stuff. Three, don't like the heat. And so for me, water parks are like, I understand the appeal, but every time somebody would ask me like, hey, you want to go to a water park? Or we'd be at Carowinds, a park here in North Carolina, or on the North Carolina-South Carolina border. They're like, you want to go to the water park part? I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm going to ride Top Gun again. Like, I'm going to go ride the rides. Like, maybe I'll go on a log flume or like a river rapid ride at like a theme park, but I'm not about the water parks. So you have lots of feelings though. Go ahead.
So I feel torn because my heart says one thing and my mind says something very, very different. There are so many things about the water parks that I've gone to in my life that I truly love. Like some of the rides, like I love portions of the wave pool, and other parts of it my brain starts kicking in and think like, oh my gosh, that's pretty much the biggest porta potty in the entire world. And the best part about it is it's moving water, so it's a moving porta potty. It's just like slosh, slosh, slosh. So yeah, there's that type of stuff. But I think that the parts I like about it is it's just such a completely different type of experience, because usually when you think about getting in the water, you think of the ocean, which, I mean, we've already talked about the merits and dismerits. I don't know, is that the right word? I don't even know.
Bad things.
The bad merits, the unmerits of the ocean, especially when you start seeing like the sharks and all that type of stuff. And so often when you go to the pool, it's just like one square that you just all hang out in, and you just chill out with some pool noodles. And don't get me wrong, me and the noodles, we can have a good time. But there's something about like the lazy river that I really like, and some of those other type of stuff that it's just kind of nice. That being said, then you start getting into the mental side of this, and yes, the filth is a pretty important one to think about. And especially since I recently saw a study online where apparently chlorine doesn't get rid of as much pee-pee as everyone thinks it does. And that's a little horrifying. So there's that aspect, but even let's pay no attention to just the different fluids that come out of one's body. Let's just think about, you got some people that are probably like grody, that are just thinking, you know what? I don't need to take a shower. I'm
Grody the gross ghost.
Exactly. He only likes Creed.
Yep, that's Grody. And Nickelback.
Yeah, exactly. But a lot of people, I don't know if you've ever felt this way, but I mean, I literally did this pretty recently of like, do I need to take a shower before I get to the pool? No, I don't. It's water. It's pretty good. But then you start thinking about, you're just pretty much like adding your wonderful scents and dirt accumulation into this pool. So that's pretty gross. But here's the main thing I want to talk about with water parks. I thought about this about a year ago. No, it's been a little bit more than that. And ever since I've come up with it, I feel like it's been a game changer for me when it comes to all water-related things. And it's that I don't understand, how is it socially acceptable that we can be in bathing suits, yet it's not socially acceptable for us to walk around in our underwear?
Now, are you advocating that we all walk around in our underwear?
I get how one might think that. And look, I'm all about body positivity here, so that's not what I'm getting at. But what I am saying is, think about this. There has never been a time in my life that I've seen one of my aunts or uncles or mom or dad or one of my friends' moms and dads in their underwear. Yet I have multiple times seen many older people, and not just older people, people of all ages, in bathing suits. And there's not really a difference. Yet, with one, you're just, I mean, you might still be like, oh, that's kind of weird to see in a bathing suit, but it's kind of whatever. But if they were walking around like JCPenney's with nothing but their little dainties on, everyone would be flipping out and they'd be calling the police. What is the social component that makes one so acceptable and the other not?
I'm hung up on one thing you said. You've never at any point in your life seen either of your parents in their underwear?
I don't know, maybe.
Like growing up in your house, there was never a moment where it's like, oh, there's dad in his boxers. Like never?
I mean, maybe a little bit, but I'm also
not like on purpose.
I'm also kind of I'm kind of like a private person, so I kind of just like try and avoid all, people in their underwear at all costs if I can. But
that's fair.
But okay, but
no, to answer your question, I have no clue. Why does the addition of water
make it okay?
Things different? I don't know. I wish I had like a good answer for this, but I really don't, because it literally is just people in their underwear. But like, and there's times like involving underwear where it's just like, oh, it's just like seeing somebody in a bathing suit, and I'm just like, I don't think of it that way though. Like,
because it's not.
I don't
know.
know.
I do think that the material that is used for bathing suits compared to, and I mean, and let's be honest too. Although yes, this is about both men and women. I would say it would be even more shocking to see a woman in her underwear compared to a woman in the bathing suit for some reason. I mean, and I think the reason why is because, I mean, am I incorrect in that assumption? But I feel like both.
I don't know that you're incorrect.
Both would be
I think
shocking.
That's because society has put a stigma on the female body.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I would agree with that.
Feel like it's naughty, when in actuality it's just somebody's body.
Yeah, no, I would agree, but I'm just saying because I would totally agree with that statement. Yeah, I would say culturally there would probably be even more of a shock. You know what I'm saying? And
culturally probably. Yes.
And maybe because with men, their swimming shorts look so similar to everything else, and it would be, I don't know. But anyway, we're kind of getting on a different part. But there's just the idea of yes, what is it about the addition of water? Like, I promise you, if there was a couple that was walking in their undies right now and they're in Sears looking at washers and dryers, and everyone's like, oh my God, this is weird, and then all of a sudden someone just throws a bucket of water on them, it's not like everyone's going to be like, now that's normal. Like,
yeah, no. Then we get into the whole question of who is this person following them with a bucket? Where did they get the bucket?
And that answer is simple.
Why?
It's me.
Oh, it's you?
I'm trying to break down societal standards and stereotypes every day, one bucket at a time. But that's just me. I'm kind of a renegade like that. Don't worry, everyone. I'm not going to chase you trying to throw a bucket of water on you. But that's something I've just been thinking about lately, and it doesn't make sense. And let me explain to you why it's recently come back in my head. I'll give you two examples. One of my neighbors, I'd say she's probably like 30, 35 years older than me. Very nice, normal person. And then we recently went to the pool because we're in like one of those complexes that have like a pool associated with it. And we went in there and she was in a bathing suit, and it was still shocking to me because it was just like, oh, whoa, I don't think I've ever seen you in anything other than long pants and long shirt. But it was just very surprising. But then quickly I was like, well, I mean, it is a bathing suit. And then I started thinking, wait a second though. If my neighbor went to go get the mail
in that,
or something similar underwear, I would be like, oh my gosh, my neighbor might have Mad Hatter's disease, and I need to do whatever I can to help her. Mad Hatter's disease helps. It makes you lose your mind. It's mercury poisoning. Sorry, I'm a scientist. What can I say?
Or you listen to S-Town.
Or that as well. Shut up, you jerk. Yeah. So.
Spoilers.
I don't know. That's just something I've been thinking about, and I really don't know what to make sense of it. And I don't think we're gonna have an answer. But it's just that we kind of moved from water parks more into this very specific issue. But it's something that I've just been struggling with. And here's the real reason why. I'm gonna get down to the point. I'm gonna share a personal story with you, and that is that. One of my grandmothers is she's not married. She hasn't been married for many years. And recently, because my grandmother is real hip, she's up with stuff. She's on Facebook. She's very active on Facebook. And something that could only happen in the year 2017 compared to years before is all of a sudden one day a couple months back, I see that my grandmother is dating someone, and I was not aware of it, and I found out via Facebook because that's what happens in this time frame. I love my grandmother. We talk a lot, but somehow she just put on Facebook before I talked to her about it. So that happened, right? Recently, my grandmother had gone to the beach with her boyfriend, and all of a sudden I see a picture, and I see her boyfriend in just a bathing suit. And so I'm looking, I go, oh my gosh, I've never met this man before. Yet now, I've seen almost every crevice of his body, and I don't know what to do with myself. And yet, for some reason, it's socially acceptable, where if I was just kind of like, yeah, I just saw my grandmother's boyfriend in the bathing suit, they'd be like, calm down, be body positive, Chris. But if I would have said, I saw my grandmother's boyfriend in his underwear, everyone would be like, what is happening? So I don't know how I feel about it. I'm not trying to make a stance one way or another. I think people should feel both comfortable in bathing suits and in their underwear, and everyone should feel confident in themselves, because especially in water parks, as us both being chunkier kids in our life, we know the pain and insecurity that is associated with that.
Oh yeah, swam with a t-shirt on like my entire coming up.
Yeah, it's the things that you have to do to try and protect yourself. But so that's not what I'm getting at. I'm in support of all bodies feeling comfortable. I'm just confused how we're okay with one and not okay with the other. And that doesn't mean I'm wanting everyone just to wear undies either. So I've gotten to a rabbit hole, and I'm just talking a lot about underwear, so I need to get out of this. But that's just my thought, man.
I mean, that's a weekly thing for you, though. Some sort of rabbit hole and talking about underwear.
Yeah, so I don't know. So if anyone has any thoughts, please share them. I would love to hear your thoughts, because I feel there's more to this discussion that I need to have in my brain before I can start really making sense of all of this.
Right. I have no answer. Yeah, I'm sitting here trying to go like, I've got to come up. I got no answer. What I do have is another topic if you want.
That's fine. Let's just get out of here.
So this week we have a listener topic. And that listener topic comes from Emily. And Emily wrote in and said, "Hey guys, I'm really enjoying the show so far, and I had an idea for a discussion topic. Extracurriculars. We all did them as kids, but you don't really hear about adults doing stuff like that. But wouldn't playing a sport or being a part of a theater production or any kind of regular fun activity be really good for mental health? I'm taking a dance class twice a week, and it has definitely done wonders for my mental health. Your thoughts? What kind of extracurricular activities did you guys enjoy as kids / would you enjoy now as adults? Keep up the good work. You guys brighten my Thursday mornings." Well, thank you, Emily, for writing in. And extracurriculars, I feel like, are a good thing. Like, I would be totally down. Like, you actually do some stuff. Like, I don't because I'm lazy. But you actually, like, you play soccer, don't you?
Mm-hmm. I do. Once, if not more, times a week. More times a week because I clearly I speak very well.
He also takes a grammar class.
Yeah, that's my real passion project. But no, I totally agree. I think that it's something that is so good and so needed for really anybody. And I mean, I think that a lot of different people get hit with this desire for extracurriculars, whether they would use that term or not. And they're whether it's someone that's out of college and then all of a sudden, like we talked about, just recently, and not feeling like you have like a huge friend group to be able to draw from, or whether you get to a point where you have kids and life is so crazy and you're dealing with all of their extracurriculars, you don't have time for anything for yourself, or maybe it's later in life and you just kind of think like, well, I do that stuff when I'm retired. I don't do any of that stuff before because it's not part of the plan. Like, I think it's super needed, whether it's once a month or whether you are able to get it on a regular basis. It seems extracurriculars tend to just mean I need to work out, and that can be that for some people, but I think trying to find a wide variety of things that you can do, even if it's in small doses, is super needed. And whether it's just you doing it individually, or I think especially trying to do it with a group of people, it helps keep you accountable, but also it feels different. Like if I was just playing soccer by myself, like it would be fine, but it just wouldn't be as fun. But because I play with other people, it becomes a different type of like emotional like release for me to be able to like feel like I'm a part of something. So I am in total support of that. I mean, is there any type of stuff that you did as a kid that you wish you would still do, or stuff that you would just want to do now that you don't do as a kid?
What counts as does sitting inside and playing video games with other people, is that an extracurricular? Because I did a lot of that as a kid.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be. You know what I'm saying? I think
like with actual people in the room, which isn't possible anymore, really. Like not online, but like with other people in the room, we used to sit and hang out. But that's not really what you're talking about. I mean, I played baseball growing up, and I really enjoyed that. I did theater in high school, and I actually did a lot of like bowling with a school like intramural bowling team in middle school.
I was on a bowling league too. We were really getting to the depths of who we were as kids. So
I don't know. I liked that sort of stuff. I loved theater. Like if I still did something, like I've considered going to an open audition for just a community theater like sort of thing here in Charlotte. But I mean, we're in Charlotte. It's an artsy city. There's a lot of people way more talented than me. And so if it's an open audition, like my biggest fear is like going in front of like 200 people and auditioning.
Yeah.
And then like, that's just terrifying. Like if it's a room full of like 6 people, I'll be like, all right, I can do this. And then once if I
play music, you play music too. That's an extracurricular.
I guess, yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't play music publicly that often, but when I do, I mean, I guess that counts.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess it counts even if I don't do it publicly. I mean, I guess it's just something I do outside of, everyday monotonous stuff that I guess everybody else has to do all the time. My wife paints, your wife bakes, and that's something that your wife does a lot of other type of stuff too, but I know that she really enjoys baking. Right.
I think that, so often I do happen to enjoy sports, but something that I've gone back and forth with liking sports, but never been really great with sports. Sports comes with like this connotation of there's certain types of people who like them, and it's almost like you have to earn your right to be able to play sports, because there's that competition aspect to it. And I was able to find friends that liked it as well, but also weren't good. But we all just wanted to be able to learn and grow together and have fun, and it not be so focused on who's the best one. And I think that's the only time that extracurriculars could end up maybe being worse for your mental health. It's thinking about those things that are already creating the biggest amounts of insecurities, thinking about the things that are already going to be adding stress. And like, for instance, I mean, when you talked about the theater thing, that could be good or bad. You know, it could help you grow and could help you work through some stuff, but also depending on if you make a self-fulfilling prophecy of like, I'm not going to do good, I'm not going to do this, and then you don't do good because you're so in your head, that could just more justify your insecurities and say, oh, I was right, I should never do this, I should never do that.
Now, me in my head, no. What are you even talking about?
So yeah, I just think that that doesn't mean you shouldn't do them, but I think, you know, strategically thinking about it and thinking about what are things that can be good for me, what things that could be potentially dangerous. So that doesn't mean I don't do it, but maybe I'm just cautious about it, or maybe I have some friends or a family member that will help keep me accountable to make sure I'm not, you know,
right.
messing
You know
up,
you know what a great extracurricular has been for me?
What?
Podcasting.
Yep, that's what I was about to guess.
For real. I was gonna say this is the extracurricular that I do now. Like this is what I do outside of everything. I mean, I guess technically this is kind of work for me too right now, but like this has been my passion and my art and my whatever. Yeah, so this has been a good extracurricular, and I think I wasn't trying to do this. I promise, I wasn't trying to set it up, but I think that will segue. I love that I always point out the segues too. That will segue pretty well into our last topic, which is my topic. I want to talk about podcasts. We're going to get meta. So we're inceptioning this thing. We're going to talk about podcasts within a podcast. And so I want to kind of talk about what podcasts like got you into podcasts, what podcasts kind of shaped you in a way. Because I know that may sound weird to some people who are just like tertiary, like not tertiary, but kind of less devoted podcast listeners who aren't like me, who I listen to 46, I think, at last count, which is amateur for some people. But I listen to 46 different podcasts, and I'm always behind, but I'm always catching up. And so I have podcasts that have affected me, like, personally, and that have influenced me as a person, that have influenced me as a podcaster, that have influenced me as an advocate and as a voice. And so I just kind of wanted to get an idea of some podcasts that kind of changed the way you looked at podcast, introduced you to podcast, or influenced you in some way.
Yeah. In some ways, I feel like I'm both behind on the podcast world and also super ahead, because I've been listening to podcasts now for like 3 or 4 years. I mean, constantly, you know, like religiously, like every single day. And for many people, they're still just getting used to it. And so it's new. So I would be like a veteran, so to speak, in that world. And other people have been doing it for a lot longer than me. I kind of bounce around and do a lot of different type of podcasts. And there's reasons for that. Both, there have been seasons that I've been in, especially in the midst of a really, really rough last couple of years. Ironically, a lot of that of my podcast listening has started in the midst of me having a really rough many years. And because of that, I find myself I'm still committed to a lot of different types of podcasts. And so so one of mine for me is because I do like sports. I like listening to sports podcast, mostly because it's one of many different ways I used to escape, because at the end of the day, I'm not one of the sports fans that thinks that the world revolves around everything. I recognize it's a game, you know? But in some ways, that's freeing for me. It's a game, so we can talk and be hypothetical about things that don't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but it's just a nice way to be able to just kind of get my mind off of other stuff and be like, you know what, this thing doesn't really matter in the scheme of what's going on in the world, but it matters to people and they care about it, and it's still a fun small way to relax about stuff. So I do those type of podcasts, but I also have podcasts that are serious, and I know one huge area that you listen to that I don't listen to at all actually is I don't listen to true crime podcasts, which is like 99% of what people listen
Right.
to. And there's a lot of different reasons why I don't, and it's not because I don't like them, but it's for what I need podcasts for myself. I tend to like conversation podcast, while my wife tends to like story-based podcast and narrative-based podcast. For different reasons, and I think it's just kind of how people are wired differently. I listen to podcasts that of drastically different things, from politics, from both people that I agree with and people I definitely don't agree with, to serious things going on, like cultural debates that are going on in the world, and hearing different sides. It provides me a way to be able to listen to people have those conversations. That's not Facebook, because Facebook is nothing but toxic when it comes to that type of stuff. And listening to actual conversations where people care about each other, and it helps me process the things that are going on in the world without having to hear people scream at each other the whole time. I listen to podcasts about mental health, or not necessarily mental health, more like psychology and how the brain works. I listen to podcasts that are super goofy, far goofier than even ours are. For when there's times I need to just get out of my head and I need someone to make me laugh. For me, it's been a beautiful thing because so many people love books, and I'm a person that I more love the idea of books than I do actually reading. And I do read, but I don't read as much as I would like, because sometimes I emotionally like feel insecure because, I don't even I know I don't read as fast as some other people, and so I can also get in my head with that. And sometimes just shutting my brain off and listening, and being entertained, but also just being able to listen. You know what I'm saying? To not have the pressure of having to contribute can be a really powerful thing in itself. And so because of that, that's why I like jumping around and being a forever learner, but by just learning to other voices, especially trying to learn other voices that are people from different backgrounds, different socioeconomic or racial backgrounds, different religious and philosophical backgrounds, just to be able to learn more without casting any form of judgment other than just taking the posture of what can, by me listening to you and what you're passionate about, make me grow. So I kind of am getting deep there, but that's just kind of, that's why I love podcasts, because you can jump to so many, and there's so many people who have a voice that are able to have a mic. I mean, look at us, we have mics,
Right.
And we have a voice. That's what's cool about it, is you get people that deserve to have their story and their voice heard it can actually happen in the podcast world. So that's my long version of that. What about you?
For me, I kind of took a different approach when I kind of thought of the topic, and that is I have specific shows that, and I know you do too, but I mean, you kind of took it in a broader sense. I kind of broke it down a little more. I have 4 shows that really kind of shaped me as a podcast listener and now a podcaster. And before I get into those, real quick, and I am going to miss people here, which is why I even hesitate to do it. But I just want to give a shout out to the podcasts that are influencing me now, because there are so many indie podcasts out there that are awesome. And so I swear, if you've talked to me and you know me and I forget your name, I am so sorry. But like podcasts out there that you all should go listen to, of course, after you listen to this every week, wink, wink. I mean, and a lot of you already are. I mean, I'm talking about Our Americana, the Karen and Ellen Letters, Varmints, Dirty Bits, Film Roast, Pints and Puzzles, Generation Y, the peripheral for them. Anything Brooke is doing, she has a new A&E podcast, but Actual Innocence, Convicted, I mean, podcast we listened to with Jeremy, Already Gone with Nina. Yeah, I mean, anybody we've had on the show, but also just all these shows, Film Roast, obviously, duh, that I listen to all the time. There's a great one called The Conspirators, Pleasing Terrors with Mike Brown, History Goes Bump. I could go on and on.
Yeah, the Weird Shit podcast.
Oh my God, they've been amazing. Well, and so has Lainey from True Crime Fan Club.
Yeah.
She's been great. And again, I'm going to stop myself now after I say Allie and Charlie from Insight. Hey, because there are so many, and I could go on and on and on and on and on. And I would have to type out a list and really think about all the different podcasts that are influencing me now. So if I didn't say you, I'm very sorry. But as far as what shaped me, the very first podcast I ever listened to, I started listening to 5.5 years ago when I was driving back and forth from our college town to my hometown, hour and a half every single day when my dad has open heart surgery. And so I started listening to podcasts then because I thought it was something different than music. And none of these shows need us to plug them. They're all huge. But that was Smodcast with Kevin Smith and Scott Mosier. And Kevin Smith has a podcasting empire. And it's great, but it was just two friends who've been friends for, 30 plus years almost, sitting down, and they would bring a news article or a topic, and they would just talk, and they would riff, and they would make up characters, and they would do a lot of the stuff that we kind of do, just to a far greater extent, as far as how far they would take the joke. And they would go on for 2 hours at a time. It was the first time I really looked at podcasts. I thought podcasts were just talk radio, NPR, which I also love.
Yeah.
But I looked at it as, it can just be two friends with a microphone having a conversation. And the thing that got planted in my mind then with Kevin Smith, and I went and saw a live show when he was here in Charlotte, and he told everybody at the Q&A, if you want to do a podcast, do a podcast. What's stopping you? And so that got planted in my mind then. And then the next one that kind of was a big milestone for me in podcasting was Last Podcast on the Left. Which again, they are huge. They don't need us to plug them, but hearing the amount of research that was going into this show every week, and seeing this brand of humor that I find funny, a lot of people don't find funny. I know you and I have talked about it, and I know your wife doesn't find, she's tried. It's not for her. And my wife just is kind of meh. It's not really for her either. But this dark humor and realizing, somebody gets me. That's the type of dark, terrible humor that sometimes I would make a joke of. And, it was pushing the limits of comedy in my mind, which also makes me think of another indie podcast, Curiosity Kills. They're basically the female Last Podcast on the Left, and they're awesome. So that really kind of pushed my idea of what comedy could be. And then in even a more abstract way, My Brother and Me, which I know is a big one for you too.
Yep.
My Brother and Me really made me want to do podcasting because it was just all three of them. It was them staying connected, and it was hearing them build their relationship and grow through the most ridiculous things I've ever heard in my life. And a lot of our influences, I know, in doing this show come from McElroy podcasts.
Yep.
And the McElroy brothers have, again, a podcasting empire. I mean, I do not miss an episode of Rose Buddies every single week talking about The Bachelor. And I'm actually working on another podcast project right now that is essentially Rose Buddies, but for a cartoon that we all grew up watching. And so the McElroy brothers have extremely had a big influence on me, and really grateful. That's my dream guest. If we could ever get a McElroy on here, I could die happy. And the last one I really want to, I say for last because I think they had the biggest influence on me, is History Goes Bump. And they are another indie podcast. They swear they will be ad-free forever. They do Patreon only, which I think is really admirable. We are Patreon only right now. Eventually, if we get ads, I doubt we'd probably say no to it. But they are amazing. It's Diane and Denise, and they host a podcast every week, and it is History of Haunted Locations. And they did so much for me. This was the first podcast that I emailed, and they emailed me back. And they didn't just email me back. They said, "This is interesting. Why don't you come on the show and talk about it?" So it was the first podcast that ever contacted me back. It was the first podcast that I was ever on. I was the lead researcher for their research crew at one point when they had that going. I did research for episodes and then would guest on them and talk about. I've been on their show 7 or 8 times. And I got bit by the podcasting bug because of History Goes Bump. And the main thing about them, and this is a big shout out to them, they have 100% of the time been do a podcast. I just told Diane today, she really did the Field of Dreams thing with me. If you build it, they will come. She just kept telling me, you've got something to say, so if you do a podcast, listeners will find you. The people who want to hear what you have to say will find you. And they've been super supportive of us the entire way, and they're definitely going to be on here sometime in the coming months because I want to have them talk about their ghostly experiences and scare the ever-living hell out of Chris a little more.
No.
Yes, it's going to happen. But I just wanted to kind of get a little podcast meta there for a minute. And I realized this has probably been a little less silly of an episode.
Mm-hmm,
but at the same time, I've been getting a lot of feedback. People are like, we don't always like just silly. We like when you're genuine too. So this is us being genuine. We did also talk about water parks though, and how disgusting they are. So were we really not serious? Silliest is the word I was going to use. I'm not making sense.
You're doing
I've
a great
begun
job
to
with the
ramble.
sentence. Keep going.
Keep going?
I love what you're saying in the sentence.
I'm just going to riff this for a while. So
please
what
don't.
is the deal with... No. Okay. I just immediately go to Seinfeld. Is that
your
not
go-to is Seinfeld? Okay.
Yeah. Is that not how we always wrap up?
We can if you want.
No, fine. I guess let's wrap up then. No. If you're going to diss my Seinfeld, God, if you'd like to send us a topic for discussion or a mental health check-in, or you have anything else on your mind, you can send that over to us at isthisadultingpod@gmail.com, or check out the Is This Adulting Best Friends group on Facebook.
Yeah, this is probably when I talk, right?
Yeah, sometimes it is when you talk.
Yeah, there was no delay or anything. I was just really
just
observing
watching
what
you.
And
And
I was like,
I don't think he's...
oh yeah, that's
think
a
he's
good
saying
point,
anything.
Stephen.
Yeah, I
like,
know.
oh
Well,
yeah.
Everything I say is a good point. So.
Well, I'll stop delaying. You should follow us on Twitter if you can. It's our Twitter handle is @isthisunderscoreadulting. We're also, of course, on Facebook. Both we have a page, as well as if you want to just join our Facebook group. It's called the Is This Adulting Best Friends, where people come together and share when they're going through hard times, as well as when they're just sharing super adorable videos of whether it's people from their family or whether it's random YouTube videos where two bunnies are playing the xylophone or whatever it might be. So you can do that. We would love to have more people join us. And also if you can go and you can spread the word by subscribing and rating us and reviewing us on iTunes. Again, we cannot stress how important that is for any podcast.
Absolutely helps people find us, and we've had a few reviews in the last couple weeks, so thank you to those folks. We are currently entirely listener supported, so if you like what you hear, please consider clicking on the Support the Show tab on our website, isthisadultingpod.com. If you give on Patreon, we have tons of cool rewards, exclusive content, and much more. By the time you hear this, the bonus episode from last week, got a little behind, with Julia from Film Roast should be up, and it was fun. We talked about her wedding and how she got engaged, and I think I hijacked the conversation and just talked about how I got engaged instead. So it was a lot of fun, but definitely if you want to support us that way, we would be ever so grateful. Or you can purchase our really cool merch at our merch shop, which is also available via the website. So we would like to thank the collection for the use of our theme music, The Borrowers, off their album Ars Moriendi. That's going to do it for us here on Is This Adulting this week. I've been your best friend, Steven.
And I've been your best friend, Chris.
And remember, kids, be happy, stay healthy, and go hug someone.
Because you never know. They might just be in their swimsuit, and they might be in their underwear. But either way, they gonna need a hug.
Why so creepy?
I don't know. I just felt like I should.
No, you should. No, you should never. You should never.
I'm not gonna get rid of this conversation. I'm gonna continue to be thinking about it, and I want everyone else to as well. So go hug them. They need your help.
Keep thinking about it all week. All right, y'all have a good week.
But seriously, don't hug people in their underwear, or they might not be okay with that. Bye.
Hey, my name is Paul, and I'm not an animal expert.
I'm Donna, and I'm not an animal expert either.
And together we do a podcast about animals called Varmints.
Every week, we pick an animal, do a bunch of research on it, and bring you some interesting facts about that animal.
But we don't stop there. We talk about that animal in movies, TV, and other pop culture.
And we talk about whether or not the animal would make a tasty dish, and how intelligent we think that animal is on a scale of 1 to 10.
It's exactly like one of those fancy PBS nature documentaries.
Except, not at all like that really in any way.
We're on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts from, and we're at blazingcariboustudios.com.